Every week, I cannot with you. This man here, bro. This man here. This man here. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. What's up, everybody? What is up? Of course, he's not, just like what old people like to do, get on your nerves and everything like that, yelling at the clouds.
Knowledge, knowledge.
It's not even a knowledge thing. It's just you getting on my nerves. I'm not being ready. So,
Hey,
hmm.
you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I can hear you.
There's no problems, no issues.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I just want to make myself very clear. Parents, stop pimping your kids. I'm not saying all, I'm not saying most, but stop pimping your kids so that they and your lifestyle can change. You see your kid with a talent and you just give them to somebody that you don't even know so that your life can be better, especially these young parents.
Yeah.
No, no, it's not the young parents because it's been going on
Yeah,
for years.
yeah. I was about to say it's not been the young parents.
It's been
This
going on.
that's been going on since the dawn of time, since TV and films were a thing. Like parents
That's right.
pimping out the kids and everything like that. And the latest thing with the whole Nickelodeon and sexual offenders being employed by them, and it's just a whole, well, that coming to light. That was something that happened in the late '90s, early 2000s. So, and I know there's more of it behind the scenes that we don't even know about. That'll probably come out, years
It's
from
gonna
now.
come out later. It's gonna come out later.
Right.
And the thing is, they go after the person who does the offense. The parents should be held accountable for this. You're gonna allow your kid to go to someone that you don't know. Is that good parenting? Is that good parenting? And only time it comes out is when that person becomes irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
When that person is not in the limelight anymore. Now they want lawsuits. Oh, I was abused. Oh, I was this. I was that. I'm not saying it's right for that person to do that to them. I'm just saying hold everybody accountable who should be held accountable. Stop pimping your kids. And I'm yelling at the clouds, the moon, the stars, and everything else because you're hold some responsibility. That parent holds responsibility. You're not going to send your kid somewhere where they're not protected. And you're going to allow someone to protect them or trust someone to have their best interests at heart. And you're the parent. And they're still a minor. Even adults get abused by people of power. You got grown men and women falling prey to men in power. What do you think a child has? What chance does a child have in that situation?
Oh,
Come on,
zero.
Tad, talk to me.
I mean, there's not really much. There's not really much for me to take. I'm not a parent. I'm not a parent. I don't know the emotional attachments or anything that goes into it. I can just look at it from an outside perspective, looking in, and be like, "Yeah, it's wrong," and that's pretty much all I can. That's pretty much all I can say about it. I'm just like, of course, the common sense thing for me be, I'm not going to leave my kid around somebody that I don't know, or let them take care
It's,
of, just send them off to like a camp or something without knowing who the people are or whatever. But it's kind of restrictive for me to provide a lot of input because I'm not a parent, so I don't have that extra lens of like, oh, that's what it's like. I can feel for the people that have gone through it, that may have experienced those things when they were younger because of, the parents might have had an oversight or whatever the case may be. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like you're not. It's unfamiliar territory. So in this aspect, it's more so listening for me, from especially from someone like you, because you have children, and so it's just like I can only absorb that information that you're providing, and maybe giving my insight on maybe something. Oh, okay, this is what I see in this situation, or whatever the case may be. Now, as far as you were mentioning something, as far as the adults, there's so many nuances to that, but I do understand a lot of times they fall prey. I think the overall thing is they fall prey due to the fact that they're trying to position themselves to advance their career. That's why I know a lot of that stuff comes from, as far as what you're referring to. Now, it may be different now, but from what I've heard, it's like they do that. So it's like, oh, I'm okay if I do this, I'm guaranteed to get, the job or whatever the case may be, and then they don't get it, and then it spirals out of control from there.
Yes, they don't get that role. Now they're upset.
Right.
But they did all this to try to get it. Or they do get the role, but now the usefulness is over. It's done. We don't need you anymore in the league. We don't need you anymore in this arena. You are has been.
Hmm.
Now, out of guilt, now you gotta look yourself in the mirror and and say, well, I did all this to try to get this, to get here. Now you want to go at the guy or woman who put you in that position. Or well, who you compromised yourself to in that position. And just imagine a kid. Now, an adult, that's a choice.
Right.
That's a choice. They can say no. They cannot even put themselves in that position. But they do. Think about a kid. Think about a kid who don't have that control. Especially if they were raised right, I'm gonna do what the adults say. I'm going to be respectful. Um, I will trust because my parents trust them. Why wouldn't I trust them?
Hmm.
They dropped me off here. They said, "Oh, you can stay with this person 24/7 because I approve."
Right.
Stop pimping your kids.
Right.
Now I know you don't have any kids. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you the floor for 2 minutes. Keep going. I'm listening. I'm listening. You should stop
Okay.
limping. I give you
Okay.
the floor for 2 minutes.
Okay. A lot of people don't understand that you put your kids in a position and their goal is to make you proud. You now want to go after the person who took advantage of them. No, you need to look in the mirror as well. I think, this is my opinion, that if someone puts their kids in a situation where they're not supervised by a person who has that kid's best interest at heart,
Okay.
they should be held accountable. They should be held accountable just like the person who did the offense. I'm gonna retract a little bit, Tack, for you. If someone violates a kid
Hmm.
and the parent puts them in a position to be violated without the protection of a loved one that has that child's best interest at heart, they should be held accountable just like the person who did the offense.
So what would you say the accountability should be then? Because I mean, let's circle back to something else we talk about: single parents. So
Mhm.
sometimes some parents will put their kids out there so they can, unfortunately, reap the benefits of the money that comes in. Sometimes it works out.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the kid goes through, the turmoil and everything that is of being a kid in Hollywood and growing up in Holly weird, I guess would be the correct term. Um, so if the parent is found, let's say, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say the kid goes through something at a young age. What penalty should the parent suffer then? Should they go to jail? Should they, like, if the parent, let's say for instance, the parent's the only person, their only provider. If we're going to that extreme of where the parent goes to jail because they allowed their kid to go through what they go through, then the kid ends up in foster care if they have no other relatives or anything like that. But then that also starts another problem where relatives are now getting involved in the money. So I guess my question would be, what would be the solution then for something of that nature? Because it can spiral out of control really quickly if you take the parent away from the child, because then relatives, and we all have those relatives that really don't have your best interests at heart. They just want to ride on your coattails.
Well, when the biological parent is not having the best interest of the child at heart,
Mm.
why would you think somebody who's
But
not
usually that's
will?
the trickle down effect, right? They take away from the parent and they put it somebody else in the family, like another relative. So you're just repeating the cycle at that point. So do you take the kid and put him in a foster home? Because then that kid could potentially end up having more problems of being in a foster home away from their, getting that growth and everything that they may receive from their parents or whatever the case may be. So it just, I don't know, just looking at it from that perspective where you're saying the parent need to be held accountable. I'm like, well, to what degree does the parent need to be held accountable? Are we talking about jail
Okay.
time because they're essentially they would
Eh,
be
eh,
considered an accomplice in what's going on?
absolutely.
And so then it's just like, well, what happens to the kid? And so it's just how that, when you said that, that's
Okay.
what I thought about.
Okay. Okay. So is the parent gonna benefit from the reward that kid makes it?
I mean, they have to until the kid's old enough.
Uh, okay. Once if the kid makes it, the
Mm.
parent's gonna benefit from the lifestyle that kid provided for them, right?
Well, unless the parent has some common sense and they put the money, it just depends. It depends because I know for athletes it's different. When we get
But either way, it changes their life.
right,
Any way, it changes their
potentially,
life, right?
potentially, yeah,
For the better. For the better
Poten-
financially.
potentially, yeah.
Financially. So why wouldn't they be equal into the punishment?
Right. No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying what is the degree of what you do? Because if you take the parent away from the kid has to then grow up in a different circumstance or whatever the case may be, and that may lead to more emotional scarring or emotional damage, whatever, however you want to look at it, instead of it being that singular thing. And you still, and I'm just taking it back to what we discussed previously about single parents. You're not getting those lessons of growth. Where are you getting them from now?
Well, you, obviously you weren't getting it from your biological
Mm.
because you wouldn't even be in that situation. Now, you think about it. If you are a good parent, you wouldn't put your kid in that situation. If you're a good parent, the money doesn't matter.
Mm.
If you're a good parent, you would think about your other kids, single or not. If you're a good parent, you'll make better decisions when it comes to your child. So, are you the best, you know, environment to be to have even the other kids, if there are even other kids involved? No,
Mhm.
no, because it's all it's all about me, not about that kid. Now you using that kid. That's what the title of this thing. Stop pimping your kids. And,
So,
and only time when this stuff comes out
mhm,
after the kid has made it, got the money in, and they become irrelevant.
mhm,
That's when it becomes a problem. If that kid's still relevant and it grows up to be an adult and still relevant, you never hear anything. You never hear anything, even with the adult stars. You never hear anything when they're relevant. Only time you hear about this stuff is when they become irrelevant.
I mean, there's some truth to that, but I think like if it a lot of times the kids don't want to talk about it or they don't want to bring up that past trauma. For prime example, the whole Nickelodeon thing. Like that was 20 some odd years ago. Nobody really talked about it. They don't want to relive those past traumas. But when you have a collective of people now talking about it, that gives you an avenue to express your your journey or what happened to you during that time instead of you just being the solo person with all the spotlight on you. You know, like I don't know. It just I feel like it's a little bit different depending on the situation because I don't really think a lot of people would do some may if they want to get more money. Yes, like I said, it has some validity to it to what you said, but it's just a serious thing. It's such a serious thing though that for you to
It is serious. It is serious. And it is amazing why would parents put their kids in that situation? Is that showing that that parent loves that kid? And nobody talks about the parent. The R. Kelly thing, hey, I get it. Some of the stuff is out of this world, practically. But there were parents behind this too.
mm,
It was parents behind the decision making process in this. If they said no and the kid never went there, it would have never happened.
but
You got adults that choose to be there and they
mm,
stayed there. I'm not giving him a pass and saying what he did was right. What I'm saying is all about a decision and what you're willing to allow to get to where you wanted to be.
well, here's the thing, isn't it? As a parent, aren't you always wanting to have your child be in a better situation than you were?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that all parents do it, but some parents, if they're
This is
in,
not an all thing. This is not an
no,
all.
I know, but I'm saying it's just like it happens to the ones that are trying to do good by their kids, and it's just like so. I'm going back to what you're saying. If the parent is trying to do good by the kid, and the kid still gets in that trouble or whatever because the parent is trying to put the kid in a better situation to be better off than what the parent was, like if the parent was growing up in a drug area neighborhood or whatever the case may be, and they're like, I don't want my kid to be here, let me send him, he has a shot, let me send him out here, but then the kid gets assaulted or whatever the case may be, then is the parent still held accountable? That's what I'm getting at. It's just like how do you navigate that, or how do you know who to go after in that sense? Because
Okay.
the kid's not going to be able to tell you until they're grown, because the parents going to be like, yeah, I did it for your own good. The kid's not going to be able to understand that or figure out that the parent's lying until they're old enough to see what's going on after the money may have been spent or whatever the case may be, and then by that time it's already damage has already been done. It's too late.
I get that. But the thing is, if a parent, this is a parent now, I'm not
Mm,
talking about somebody on the street. You're not going to send your kids someplace you don't know. And if that person, whoever you're sending them to,
Mm,
has that child's best interest at heart, they don't matter whatever protection you feel that you need to have with that kid is not excessive. What I'm saying is, I got to have somebody else there chaperoning,
mm,
neutral, a neutral party. If this person got, if this young person has that talent, and you see that talent, you want to nurture that talent, and you want to build on that talent, you should have no problem with that. And it's non-negotiable. I gotta protect my kid. That's my job. That is my job. If you don't understand that, I need to move on, or that he or she has to find another route to get there. It's non-negotiable. You don't send your kid through a minefield because on the other side of that minefield is millions of dollars on the other side. It's a stack of millions of dollars on the other side. And you say, well, we make it, they make it, we're millionaires. But if you don't, they'll be blown up before they even get there. So will I do that or will I not? There's a chance they'll make it, and there's a chance they won't. And if they do make it, what if they lost a limb, blow an arm off, but they still crawled across and made it? Is it worth it? Or will I say, well, it might be longer to get there. I might have to take this path. We just take this route right here where they don't have to go through a minefield. It's going to take more work, but they are protected. Now, adult, because adults, I've heard these adults putting themselves out there, male and female, being abused by men of power or women of power. I mean, give up themselves in a way that they wouldn't normally would because they want to be somewhere. They want that level of superstardom.
mm.
Hey, if you're an adult and you run across that minefield or you and you make it and you whatever happens, accept it. You made a decision. The person was in a position of power. You did not have to do it. When it comes to a kid, that's totally different.
Mm.
Accept it. Man up, woman up. You, to, hey, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. But if you decide to do it to get that role, get that money, get that opportunity, accept it. Don't get mad because you got the role, you got the opportunity, and now you're not relevant anymore. A kid that all that's off the table. You should. I put that on the parent, putting that kid in that position. They shouldn't have, and it was. I really think it's a self-centered decision. They're thinking about themselves and not the kid.
And like I said, I can agree with you for the most part, about 75%, but I know that there's some circumstances to where you don't have that option. And it's like,
As an adult or as a kid?
as a parent, like you may not
As a
have
parent.
that. You may not have that option. So I'm
So
just,
what so tell me what situation where a parent can say, I'm not gonna send you off with this guy or this woman because I don't have the means of protecting you as a parent.
I mean, I gave you a prime example. Like if you're somewhere where it's a rough, as we say, a rough neighborhood, and you fear for your child getting shot just walking home, then you're
So it's
trying.
better to send them off.
Some may take it that way. Some may take it. They have a better opportunity. If that
being
person,
abused.
it's a gamble. It's a gamble either way. Like I said, they can send them off with trying to do the best by them so they don't end up 6 feet in the ground before they had a chance to experience their full life. Or, they make it, whatever the case may be. Like I said, there's different circumstances. So that's why I said about 75%, because I know it's out there where some parents, they're trying to do good because where the kids are growing up or whatever the case may be, and parents may not have that option. I don't know how much truth there is to it. I just know it's a thing. It is a thing. So just look at it from that perspective. It's just like, well, I think that you're gambling. Yes, you're gambling, but I think that's better than the kid walking home and getting shot in a gang war, and then you don't have little Timmy to come home and talk about how his day was or whatever the case may be.
Okay. Let's say that is the case.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you suing them now? Why are you going after them now?
Mm-hmm.
He got you to a point. He got you out the ghetto. That's it.
That's if he makes it. Now, as far as the suing,
they made the money.
If you are a parent trying to do good by your kid, then you really should be taking that money that they're making and investing back into your kid. Like I said, if they're a good parent and they don't have any other options, I'm not talking about a bad parent. I'm talking about a good parent. I'm saying if you are a good parent, you have a good heart, you're trying to do good by your kid, trying to get him out so he can continue to see his next days. He or she can continue to see their next days. Then yeah, that may be an option for you to send them off to potentially have a better life or maybe make it. Know somebody that's maybe out there to keep an eye on him or watch over him, whatever. I don't know what the web would,
whatever means necessary to make sure that kid is taken care of.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
But what I'm saying is now you coming back. You took the risk.
Mm-hmm.
You got him out of the environment, got you out the environment. Now you coming back and sued the person that did it.
Well, I don't know why you.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's a pass. Mm-hmm. You give them a pass for getting them out. But what I'm saying is, you knew, you weighed it. You weighed the options.
Right.
You weighed it. The parent weighed it and said, okay, I'm going to go with this. This is the best option. Even though you know what might come along with that option.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got it. You got out the ghetto or whatever. You made the money. You enjoyed the life.
We'll see.
Now you want to come back and complain when that person could have been dead on the streets and never made it?
You're talking about the bad parents. I see where you're going with that. I'm saying the good parents. You're still going to do it regardless because they were in your care. You're not. So that's something you don't do. Like if I'm entrusting the betterment of my child,
they shouldn't do it.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Right. But so it does. So when you're saying why sue now, it's like the kid is not going to tell you anything. 9 times out of 10, the kid is not going to tell you anything because they're going to think they're in trouble if they say something. That's usually why that comes out later, and they go back to sue. The kid's like, well, if I tell them, I'm going to get punished or whatever the case may be. We've all been there. We've all been kids. We know how it works. So that's part of that reason why you don't see these things happen until 2018 to 20 plus years later. And yes, irrelevancy does play some part into it because they may have blew all their money or whatever the case may be. But it shouldn't be done in the first place.
It shouldn't be done. No, I'm not trying to condone the actions of an adult abusing a child. I'm not. What I'm saying is everybody's not being held accountable for that. The parent should hold some accountability for that as well. Because just like you said, you giving them the best opportunity, you making a decision saying, They can be shot walking down the street from the grocery store, from the corner store, or they might be abused by this person. I've heard some allegations about them,
No,
but
if you've heard allegations about the person,
ah,
you shouldn't. See, now
I,
you're throwing extra layers into that.
ah,
All I said was you give them opportunity.
wait.
All I said was you give them an opportunity to go out there and potentially make it.
So you telling me this is the first time these people, all these people
No,
that
no.
being called out right now,
The
this is the
way
first time this was heard.
the Nickelodeon stuff, yes. The way
Maybe the Nickelodeon stuff, but what about all the other stuff?
most
All
of the
the
time,
music industry and all that other stuff.
and how long did we wait until they started hearing about it, Jay?
No, I'm
How
just
long?
saying.
No. Answer my question. How long did they wait until they started talking about it?
When they were adults.
Oh, okay.
And
So
irrelevant. When their career has pink.
So you mean to tell me? So you mean to tell me Usher's irrelevant? P Diddy, the mastermind behind it all, is irrelevant. Like the things that are going on right now. So you mean to tell? No. Don't try to boomwalk out the back door. No, if you're gonna stick with it, stick to your guns. Just like you said. So all the stuff that's been coming out now about P Diddy, Usher, all those groups that have been out there in the early 1900s, early 1990s and 2000s, all that stuff that's been coming out.
Right. What about it?
I'm just saying you're not going to hear anything about it. So of course that whole window, you send your kid out now. 10 years later, you hear that person was a.
You had Justin Bieber's and all those stuff with P Diddy as well.
And how long was the time frame? How long was the time frame before you started hearing stuff about that? So of course people are going to continue to send. If you're seeing another kid do well, you're like, oh well, they got some good talent around there. They're nurturing the kids, making sure they do right. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. As somebody outside looking in, the kid that's already on the inside that's going through is not going to say anything. We just talked about that.
So you telling me that even right now, some parent won't send their kid if P Diddy or anybody else,
if it's brought to the spotlight, like it is now, they're not going to send them to them. But I guarantee you, if it was 10 to 15 years ago, they would still be trying to send people to those kids. I
probably agree with that, but I still think that their influences. Like what's the guy who's with the actors? He's in prison now. I forgot the movie guys, but it was known about him for years, and he still flex his influence and his power over adults, and even with Diddy, in what I've been hearing is even adults were handled.
We're talking
in
about
that way.
We're talking about So
what I'm saying is influence is still there. You telling me a parent who's in the ghetto or wherever in a situation and they got a kid with talent and some mogul, some promising guy that can boost their career comes up and say, hey, let me mentor them, even with all the allegations.
They're not going to do it if they're you're missing the point. If they have allegations on them, why in the parents' right mind would they sit? I'm talking about if you don't know. If they know, and you're not going to. When I was here. Hey, look. When Aaliyah and R. Kelly, that was known. Right? R. Kelly?
That was known.
What about
R. Kelly and Aaliyah? Mm-hmm. Aaliyah in her prime, when she was a little kid. Mm-hmm. Everybody knew R. Kelly and Aaliyah. They even got married. So they knew about R. Kelly, right?
Wasn't R. Kelly like 21 or something like
Oh,
that?
oh,
Wait,
I
you
don't
gotta
care. I don't care
hold on,
what
hold on,
age you
hold
want
on.
to put on it. I don't care what
No, no,
age you
no.
want to put on it. I'm
I'm
just based
asking.
on your situation, what you just said.
I know I'm
If
asking
you
because
R. Kelly,
I need context. If Aaliyah was 18 and R. Kelly's 21, that doesn't
it
make.
wasn't 18. She wasn't 18.
That's what I'm saying. I need
She was, she
context.
was,
I don't. How old was she?
she was a teenager. She wasn't 18. She was still under her parents' guidance. She was not an adult. And they got together. And did people still send people up? Did people still go to R. Kelly? Did people
Hold
still
on.
live in this house? Because
You said
they
they got
served.
married, right? You said they got married.
Yes, yes, yes. Look it up. Look it
I'm,
up.
hold on.
Look it up. Give you time. But they
I'm looking it up right
still
now.
went to R. Kelly, lived in his house, took the abuse and everything for fun. How? I can look it up too, but faster than what you doing. What you got?
Okay. See, now that's a problem.
How old was she?
Huh?
How old was she?
She was
How old was she?
15.
All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look all the allegations R. Kelly got on him.
I think that was
From,
after,
from
right?
since right after.
But I'm saying
Like I
after.
said,
No, I'm saying.
people
Listen.
people still dealt with R. Kelly knowing he married a 15-year-old as an adult.
What I'm
So
saying is,
don't tell me people won't do it.
you didn't listen to what I said. I said if people don't know, then of course they're going. If people don't know, then of course they're going to continue to still send people to whoever these abusers or whatever the case may be are. Once that comes out, yes, the people's influence with mystique, whatever the case you want to call it, will still have some influence on people who are the bad parents who just want to ride the coattails of the kids. But I'm talking about with the scenario we just discussed. If you're a good parent at heart, you're trying to do well by your kid, you're not going to send him or her to some kind of deviant. That's just not going to happen. You'll find another way.
Well, hope not. I would hope not.
But the bad parents are like, oh, we're gonna get tickets from R. Kelly. I know how that works. I know how it works. I've seen it. I've heard it. Whatever. I'm talking about the scenario that I presented to you about that being your only option. But you're not going to send them to somebody if you already know they're a pet.
How many women came out about R. Kelly?
More than I can count.
Thank you.
But you're talking about one set. What I'm saying, you're missing what I'm saying.
Okay,
I'm talking about if you send
the good parents.
I'm just saying in general, if you're sending somebody out, if you already know background on that person, you're not going to send them to that person. If they are unknown, like I said, R. Kelly, mystique about R. Kelly, people still did it regardless because they wanted to be famous because he was the epitome of singing R&B and all that stuff at that time. Basically the untouched soul. Like he could do no wrong in a lot of people's eyes. However, if you don't know, then you're gonna send people out there. If you don't know, they have a shot and you don't know. However, if you know, you're not gonna send them. Just like if you know,
I don't believe that.
Just a prime example. If you know a restaurant has a 1-star rating on Yelp, are you still gonna go eat there?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. However,
however, you do know is people out there that would still
send their
kid out.
I know that I just acknowledged that. I said people will still do it for the mystique. They don't care. They're the parents that they just want to ride their kids' coattails. But I'm talking about the scenario that I presented to you as far as the parent has no other option if they don't know. If they have no other option, they're trying to make sure their kid survives to see another day, and they have potential talent to make it in Hollywood or wherever they're trying to send their career off to. They're going to send them off with, yes, it's going to be somebody that's unknown, but I'd rather deal with the unknown than the known.
I get what you're saying. So you're saying that 1-star restaurant, they would take their kids to that 1-star restaurant because that's the only thing available.
No, I'm saying they would go to the restaurant that hasn't been rated. They would take their kid to the restaurant that hasn't been rated because there's nothing that's known about them compared to that 1-star restaurant where it may give you salmonella or whatever other bacteria that's in their food.
Okay, so you're saying, and I just want to make sure I get it clear. If they'll have no other recourse, they don't have no other choice.
Right.
Not even an unknown, but they got a 1-star restaurant there. They won't take their kids to that.
I don't think they would. Why would you want to?
Okay.
You're not going to deal with something like that. Like if
that's the only restaurant they got.
If that's
the only restaurant they got.
If that's the only restaurant they got. If that's the only restaurant they got, I'm sure if the kid was quote unquote talented enough, you're gonna have more than one person coming to that kid trying to.
We talk about food now. If that's the only restaurant
I'm making a reference because I'm trying to make you understand because you talking about they don't want to go sit no kill it because I'll kill an old person who out here.
I'm just saying. You can't give these parents an out because it's our job to protect. What I'm saying is, once you make a decision to put your kid out there and unprotected in somebody else's hands, you have done that kid a disservice. Because it's your job to protect that kid. It's not that person's job you sending them to. It's your job to protect. That's why would you drop your kid off to overnight, to a sleepover, never even talk to the parent? You just drop my friends are having a sleepover. Can I go? Yeah, okay, yeah, you can go, and drop them off and never talk to the parent. It happens all the time. All the time. I'm just trying to tell your youth, your parenting skills suck. It sucked back. And even my age group, it sucked with the bad parents. But the good parents, we got more good parents in my age group than we got from us now.
I beg to differ.
I know you would.
Let's be real. If we're gonna go there, let's go there. If we're gonna go there, Mr. Aaliyah. If we're talking about Aaliyah, how old was she? So she was 15, right?
Right.
So that would make her like somebody's kid in your age range, correct?
Absolutely.
So if we're talking about that, I think that's pretty egregious, right?
You know why?
Oh no, I'm not done. I'm not done because you want to talk about my generation. I'm pretty sure everybody in your generation, all the stuff like Usher. I'm pretty sure Usher's parents are in your age bracket too, so that went on. Justin Bieber's parents are in your age bracket, so that went on. All the R&B, not all of them, but majority of the R&B and everybody that's coming out now were kids parented by people in your age bracket. So what we doing? So what we doing here? Even the people at Nickelodeon were kids from people in your age bracket. So what we doing here? You can't sit there and say, we got better parented. Y'all let it happen. What you mean? What you mean?
I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Enlighten me.
because it was never thought of that some adult would do that to a kid in my age group. I'm not saying it didn't happen or it wouldn't happen or it could. It was never even thought of that some male. We used to play outside till late at night, till the street lights come on. This is the mindset you talking about my group. So when you left your kid with someone, you knew that person, which it was communication there. This is a little different. Like I said in the beginning, it's not all. It's not all, but the mindset was different. Kids were safe. Kids were off limits. Women were off limits in certain things. You don't shoot women and kids. You don't hurt women and kids. You get the man or whatever. Totally different now. So you think back then that the situation was toxic. In my generation, think about where it's at now. Think about where it's at now. And we had morals. We had limitations. We had structure. We had certain things you just don't do.
But they did it
Where we
anyway.
at today? Where we
But
at
they did
today?
it anyway.
Right.
They,
Some people did it anyway.
they,
Not all. Not all.
they still did it.
And not most.
Uh,
And not most.
and I do
And not
believe
most. And not most.
they still did it. Then I do believe, and I do believe that with everything being, with more information being at your fingertips now, it makes it a lot harder. It makes it, listen to me, it makes it a lot harder for people to get away with the stuff they want to get away with compared to how it was in that era, in that age range when it happened. I'm not saying that they're going to get away scot clean. All I'm saying is it's a lot harder for them to get away with it because you have the information. You can literally send out, oh, this person's doing the X, Y, and Z. They got the mafia sent on them. Everybody's coming after them, whatever the case may be. And then you have, the person has to put out a statement, whatever the case. You can falsify something on somebody nowadays and get them in trouble. So it's just, I think the information being at the fingertips makes it a lot hard. Not saying that doesn't happen, but I think it makes it more difficult for those things to just swept under the rug.
But look at the moral compass today. See, the thing about it, the way that it was, I guess, suppressed back then is because of the moral compass. Today is no moral compass.
I don't think it was suppressed. It's just that nobody was talking about it until now.
Why? Because the morality of
it. What do you? We literally just talked about it. People in my age bracket, when y'all were our parents, they were getting assaulted as kids, and it wasn't talked about.
I said that it wasn't talked about because, like you said, it's exposure now because everything is out there. Everybody
right, but what you're saying is the moral compass, and I'm like, the moral compass obviously went to the wayside once your generation started growing up. Not everybody, but people in that generational bracket. Oh, well, I feel like just going to do something deviant today, and let's go ahead and see what we can do to get away with it.
Okay. This is what I'm talking about. Look, about sexuality. Before, you didn't talk about being gay. Now, you can. What I'm saying is a different it's a different mindset back then.
There you go.
Because now,
because I was about to say what would happen.
I didn't say it wasn't people gay back then.
No, but
they didn't talk about it.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to.
You want to know why they didn't talk about it, Jay? We know why they didn't talk about it. the same way, the same thing as they talk as the tone of our skin color. You know exactly why they didn't say anything back in the day, Jay. Don't act like it ain't anything different. Don't go there. Don't go there.
I'm just pointing out the morality side of generations. What I'm saying is, it's different. It was different back then compared to now.
Oh, you don't say.
And now,
you don't say.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, because you're digging yourself or talking
that's
about.
That's another topic. That's another topic.
Digging yourself a hole talking about the morality compass because y'all
bring it next week, whatever you want to bring it.
We know good and well y'all were quick. Oh, that's what you're doing? Okay, we'll see you outside in the courtyard. And you know it to be true because that was on the tail end. That was on the tail end of when I was in high school, early high school. That's when that stuff started dying down. People were getting beat up for announcing how they were. Yeah, I wonder where that started at. You can't even open. The moral compass.
It was different. It was different.
Of course, it was different. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Anyway,
I'm not following you up.
Exactly, because you can't.
I'm done.
Because you can't.
I'm done.
You know good and well the minute you said morality, I was
this young man will not listen. I hope.
We're talking about not listening.
What I'm saying.
The minute you wanted to go with morality, I was like, I'm pretty sure y'all.
Because it's a different mindset back then compared to today. So now, think about how it's going to be now. It's going to stop them now because soon, I'm telling you where it's heading. Soon it's going to be, it's okay. It's going to be okay to do that. See, right now, it's wrong. Soon it's going to be okay. Because, hey, if I feel it's all right, it's all right. Whatever I feel is good is good. That's where we're going. The only reason why it's a problem now is because of how our standards were back then and how our standards still are right now. But eventually, it won't even matter. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, with a lot of other layers that you tried to gloss over, but we're not gonna revisit that. Anyway, I think it'll still go on.
You're gonna be my age.
I think it'll still go on. However, there's the power in numbers, and what I'm saying is, when people find out that you did X, Y, and people will be quick to dig up your past. So the minute they find out you did X, Y, and Z, you're pretty much dead in the water. You're dead to majority of the population. You're not gonna. That's why I said that.
Even if you make it up.
How many people have you seen
with no proof? With no proof? No,
but what I'm saying is the ones that are actually found guilty, they're pretty much dead in the water. Like the ones that are innocent and they get those brought up, yes, there needs to be. I will admit there needs to be work. There needs to be work done. As far as there needs to be more effort put into the research to make sure that they're actually, the claims are false or whatever the case may be. But I'm talking about the ones that are actually guilty of whatever they're doing. It's damn near impossible for them to find another line of work or find employment after that gets out because you have that information at your fingertips now. Anything you want to know about a person, you can type it in and sure as hell, Google will bring up something if it's related to an article about something you did in the past, or you can go to Twitter and be like, hey, you know something about this person? Some sleuth will, some people take pride in just digging up stuff about people's past. They take pride in it.
That's true.
So I don't think you're not gonna get away with as much as they did back in, I guess you want to say your era, or however you want to phrase it.
The moral compass
The moral compass flew out the window the minute the minute y'all let that happen. The moral
But
compass flew
no,
out that
I
window.
enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed this conversation. We can expand on it a little bit more. I heard something you said that I want to expand on probably in a couple of weeks. But
You sure you're gonna be able to remember it?
parents, parents need to parents need to stop pimping their kids, especially today and in the past. Take responsibility. You are your kid's protector. You are responsible for that child. 100% of the time, not 99. You, the parent,
Excuse
stop
me.
pimping your kids and then want to hold the person accountable who you pimped them to and not take responsibility for your part when you played in it. But this is not all. I'm just saying the ones that know they do it. I did it.
He finally
Subscribe,
used
share this podcast with others because Tack won't do it. Jay got to do it. Got to say it. So subscribe and share.
he actually put some context on his statement. You love to see it. 2024 is a good year. He actually put some context on it instead of just you just yelling at the clouds. I'm like, bro, you have no context behind it. But what he said, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And he finally did it. Holy, one down in 2024. He finally did it after almost 2 years of doing this. But we'll see you all next week, and we're out of here. Later, everyone.